Something happened to you once, or to someone you know, or to someone whose account you have read, that did not fit inside ordinary reality. Perhaps it came during meditation, or illness, or grief, or a moment of extreme beauty. Perhaps it came for no discernible reason at all, uninvited, in the middle of an ordinary afternoon. For a moment, or an hour, or what felt like forever, the usual boundaries dissolved. The separation between you and everything else became porous, then transparent, then simply gone. There was a sense of vastness, of meaning, of certainty so complete it made ordinary certainty seem like a rough sketch. And then it passed. But you have never been entirely the same. William James was the first major scientist to take experiences like this seriously, not to pathologize them, not to explain them away, but to study them with the same rigorous attention he brought to everything else. His landmark work, The Varieties of Religious Experience, delivered as the Gifford Lectures in Edinburgh in 1901 and 1902, devoted extensive attention to what he called mystical states of consciousness. And his analysis remains, over a century later, the most comprehensive and philosophically sophisticated framework we have for understanding these profoundly important human experiences. James identified 4 defining characteristics of genuine mystical experience. The first is ineffability. The state cannot be adequately communicated in language. Mystics across every culture and tradition report this quality. They can gesture toward the experience, can describe its effects, can offer metaphors and analogies, but the experience itself resists capture in words. James thought this was not a failure of articulation but a genuine feature of the state. It reveals a dimension of experience that exists prior to the categories that language requires. The second characteristic is what James called the noutic quality, the sense that mystical experience is not merely a feeling but a form of knowing. Those who have these experiences report a powerful conviction that they have encountered reality more directly and completely than ordinary consciousness permits. They have seen something true. This is what distinguishes mystical experience from mere hallucination. In James's view, the content feels like revelation, not fantasy. The third characteristic is transiency. Mystical states are temporary. They fade. This is part of what makes them so poignant and so difficult to communicate. The person returns to ordinary consciousness with a memory of something extraordinary that they cannot fully bring back with them. The state visited and left. But it left marks. The fourth characteristic is passivity. The mystic experiences the state as being given, not manufactured. Even when practices like meditation or contemplative prayer are used to prepare the ground, the experience itself arrives as a gift rather than an achievement. You cannot force it. You can only prepare yourself to receive it. James's crucial philosophical move was to take seriously the epistemic authority of these experiences, to argue that they cannot simply be dismissed as illusions or pathological states just because they are unusual. He pointed out that ordinary sensory experience is also just a mode of consciousness, one that happens to be shared and reproducible, which gives it its authority. Mystical experience, while not reproducible on demand, is experienced by those who have it as more real, not less real, than ordinary perception. Why should the majority vote of ordinary consciousness automatically trump the testimony of these states? This is a genuinely radical position, and James held it carefully. He did not claim that mystical experiences prove any particular religious doctrine. He claimed only that they constitute genuine evidence, evidence that consciousness has depths and capacities beyond what everyday life reveals, and that these depths may connect to something important about the nature of reality. Modern research is bearing James out in fascinating ways. Psilocybin studies at Johns Hopkins and NYU consistently show that in controlled settings, a significant proportion of participants report experiences with the 4 Jamesian characteristics, and that these experiences often produce lasting positive changes in personality, values, and psychological well-being that endure long after the experience itself has faded. The mystical experience, operationalized in the Mystical Experience Questionnaire developed partly from James's criteria, turns out to be the best predictor of therapeutic benefit. Near-death experience research produces similarly Jamesian findings. The consistency of the core phenomenology across cultures, ages, and belief systems suggests that these experiences are revealing something real about the structure of consciousness, not merely reflecting cultural expectations. For James, the practical implication was clear. A fully adequate psychology of human experience must include these states. A science of mind that only studies normal waking consciousness is like a science of the ocean that only studies the surface. The depths are real. They have their own inhabitants, their own dynamics, their own relationship to the whole. If you have had such an experience, James would tell you, take it seriously. Not uncritically, not credulously, but as genuine data about the nature of mind and reality that deserves careful reflection. And if you have not, he might suggest, gently, that the cultivation of states that loosen the grip of ordinary self-consciousness, meditation, contemplation, deep aesthetic engagement, time in nature, might reveal dimensions of your own experience you have not yet encountered. The far reaches of consciousness are among the most fascinating territories James explored. Subscribe to The Psychology of William James to keep mapping this extraordinary terrain together.